This WBTV high-definition program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News at 6 starts right now.
Now at 6, family, friends, and a community mourning a fallen hero, a local Marine, husband and father, killed in action in Afghanistan.
And I'm meteorologist Eric Thomas. Strong storms continue to roll around Charlotte and vicinity. We will be tracking these and let you know how long we're going to be in this active pattern in your first alert forecast.
Traffic still very slow moving on southbound 77. A holdover 2 hours after a nasty crash at the state line. This is 77 at Arrowwood.
It is getting better, but as Paul said, it is still just crawling, backed up for almost 10 miles all the way up to the Belk. There are traffic jams all over the place. If you're waiting on someone to get home for dinner in time, plan on them being a little late tonight.
Well, now first at 6 o'clock, a flooded pond and a crumbling dam threaten homes. The city knew it was only a matter of time before the wall gave way, but they didn't act until it was almost too late. Hello and thanks for being here tonight. A busy Friday. I'm Paul Cameron.
And I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Welcome. The city's known this spillway was crumbling for 2 years. Crews have drained millions of gallons of water from the pond off Albemarle Road, and they're watching the skies, hoping not to get seriously soaked by this evening's thunderstorms. WBTV's Dedrick Russell is investigating this story. And Dedrick, if the city knew this dam was a problem, why'd they wait so long to take action?
Well, I'm told these things take time. As city officials, they tell me that they have been busy conducting studies and coming up with a plan to fix the dam and to address the area's flooding problem. They tell me that they claim that they were right on schedule to make things better around here, but Mother Nature just speeded up the process. Back in 2009, this dam received a notice of deficiency. So for 2 years, officials knew this dam was in jeopardy. The last inspection took place in 2010, and inspectors noted again something needed to be done. In fact, officials told me today if the work was complete, last night's mess would not have happened.
I think it probably should have been dealt with before, before actually all the rain came about. Then they wouldn't have had to block everything off.
I'm not an expert at the situation, but I'd say that there could have been other steps to prevent this.
The city says since 2009 it has been thinking about a permanent fix to take care of the crumbling dam and flooding the area often experiences, but it took time to come up with a plan. In fact, a plan was just approved by the state this past January. Construction was to start in 30 days, but with recent wet weather and potential downpours in the area's present and future, the problem will get fixed sooner rather than later.
We are considering accelerating that for this very reason.
Engineers are still figuring out if the dam needs to be repaired or replaced. The total project could cost you, the taxpayer, nearly $9 million.
The project is going to be paid for out of stormwater fee. This is a community project that will help not only that neighborhood, but the city at large.
I'm told the project will start soon and it won't finish for a few years. Live in East Charlotte, Dedrick Russell, WBTV, on your side.
And Dedrick, draining the pond revealed a big secret hidden below the surface there, a car buried in the muck. Police and firefighters have checked the car. They're still investigating, but they believe the vehicle was just abandoned and then pushed there into the water.
Repair work will begin Monday on the sinkhole that formed in Lenoir this week. It may look small, but it could be a big problem. A drain line apparently washed out under the road, and they don't know how big this problem is yet. They won't know until they begin repairs. Penton Avenue, will remain closed until the sinkhole is fixed.
Some of you have had downpours this evening. It has been really a mixed bag across the area.
That's caused lots of problems out on the roadways. Let's check about tonight. Here's Eric Thomas.
All right, Paul. Yeah, there have been some really noisy thunderstorms and obviously the traffic disruptions, but nothing that's really reached severe criteria. No large hail, no damaging winds reported at this point in time. But yes, we still do have some stout thunderstorms to tell you about. Let's take you in because this one moving out of North Mecklenburg County, now moving toward the Concord and also Kannapolis areas. Here you see we've got a storm tracker, the leading edge of the storm, a cluster of lightning in here at about 623 North Concord, for instance. New Gilead coming in at about 638. We'll go in closer, show you some neighborhoods. Again, we're pointing out Kannapolis and Concord, but it looks like Kannapolis has the better chance of getting the worst of this. The good news, lightning has settled down just a little bit, but still heavy rain moving now parallel to Highway 3, as that is coming into the Kannapolis area, I should say. All right, so through 7 o'clock, hour-by-hour forecast. No real surprise here. Still some stray storms around through 7. 9 o'clock, about 79, and very muggy through 11, about 75 degrees. Active pattern will continue. We'll let you know how far into the future this extends coming up in your First Alert forecast.
Eric, this one we hate to report. A Marine, this man from York County, killed in action, fighting in Afghanistan, the war on terror. Staff Sergeant Thomas Dudley, TJ, lost his life earlier this week. Now, details of his death are hard to come by. The Defense Department, they're not saying much. We do know this. Dudley was killed in a combat operation in Afghanistan. It was his 6th overseas deployment as a Marine. He's been in the service since he turned 18 years old, 11 years since then. A husband and a father of 3, his friends, as I said, calling TJ. And they've taken to Facebook to honor him. One friend writes, the war in Afghanistan does not discriminate. It only affects the warriors and heroes that bear the personal sacrifice that choose to fight for freedom. May you rest in peace. God bless you, Marine. Dudley was also a volunteer firefighter in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Thinking of his family tonight, Crime Stoppers is growing in South Carolina. Law enforcement wants help from everyone in the community, and whoever has tips, well, they want them to come forward. That's why South Carolina has just introduced an Hispanic tip line. WBTV's Trent Ferris is on your side and on that story.
For 29 years, Crime Stopper hotlines in South Carolina have been a very important tool for law enforcement to track down criminals. But for 29 years, there was a problem.
Basically, we have not been able to respond to callers that only spoke Spanish.
Today in Columbia, the South Carolina Crime Stoppers Council announced a new Hispanic tip line. The York County Crime Stoppers line is still the same, 1-877-409-4321. Now, when someone Hispanic calls the Crime Stoppers hotline, there's no dial 1 for English and dial 2 for Spanish. They'll still get a live operator, but if the person on the other end of the line can't speak English, they'll be transferred immediately to someone who can habla español. Manuel Mendoza at Charanda's Mexican restaurant in Rock Hill says for part of the Hispanic community, it just isn't the language barrier that kept Latinos from calling in tips.
Sometimes some of them, they're not here legally, you know, they kind of afraid about that.
David Ward, chairman of the York County Crime Stoppers Council, says just like always, every call is taken with complete anonymity.
You won't be found out. You're giving information that can be relayed and put in the right hands of the right people.
Officials say it may take a while for the Hispanic community to feel comfortable with using the hotline. Mendoza hopes to speed up that process to spread the word about the new tip line.
Yeah, let them know it's okay, you know, and stop all the crime.
Because in the 12 years Crime Stoppers has been going on in York County, more than 3,000 tips have aided in clearing 1,400 cases. In Columbia, Trent Ferris, WBTV, on your side.
Up next at 6, closing arguments finished in the case of an accused killer. The jury gets a weekend to think before they officially deliberate.
What do you do when 13 little baby ducks are trapped in a storm drain? You get them out. I'm Kristen Hampton. The good news is coming up.